Hi, all. Hi, my name is Arun. Welcome to my blog here, video blog. Today, I'm going to talk about trend lines, the importance of trend lines, and how to draw a trend line, and what does a trend line mean. That's what I'm planning to cover today. Um, as like with any other video, this is more like a learning activity for me. Whatever I'm learning, I'm trying to make my own video so that I can double on my learning, and also hopefully some of you in the community find this useful. So let's jump on. So what's a trend line? So how do I draw a trend line? So trend line essentially means a trend can be up or down. And what is a trend line? Like, it indicates a line when there are multiple time points, at which when a trend comes and connects to a particular line, it kind of becomes a trend line. So let me show that probably by drawing a trend line, and then I can give an explanation. Here I have Hindustan Petroleum chart here. So let me use it to draw a trend line. Okay, let me see if I have. So you can see there is sort of a trend here. So let me use this to show you, right? Here you can see so far in here the price. So this is the trend line. So you can see the candles are at different time. I mean, different, like, from third November. You can see here it's at 20th December. So the progressive candle comes and rests at a certain point, in a line, and that's what's called a trend line. You can see it comes, takes a support here again, and then support here, then again a support here. And if I extend this further, you can see very, so you can see the line is, or the candle comes and rests on this line time and again. So this is how you draw trend lines. You need to have, you're looking to connect multiple bottoms or tops of a chart. A trend line is considered strong when there are multiple resting points. Like, for example, you see here there's a resting point, there's a resting point here, there's a resting point here, so sort of resting point here, something very close, but then again a resting point here. When a trend line has multiple resting points, it is considered stronger. Similarly, a trend line can be drawn in an hourly chart. It can be drawn in a daily, weekly, multiple time frames. So the longer the time frame, when I say week or a monthly trend line, and if there is a trend line from a weekly or a monthly chart, they are usually considered stronger. Okay, what does this mean? So it's in one way to look at a trend line. It's a good support point. You can look at it whenever the bars or the chart is coming from top, and it kind of takes, rests on that line. It's considered as a good support point. And it is a good point to do a swing trade, meaning if the chart or the script is taking support at that point and there is a bounce back, you can enter at a low there. And it is also considered a good point to go short, just in case of if there is a breach of a trend line, you could go further short from that point. So that's how it's used. Here's an example of Hindustan Petrol. You can see in this trend line, there is multiple time that this price has come and taken support on this trend line. Similarly, let me show you in Tata Steel. Tata Steel, I'm taking a shorter duration, smaller trend line. Here in Hindustan Petrol, this is a really long trend line starting from 20th September 2020. This is sort of a strong support base here. I'm going to take a Tata Steel, a really relatively shorter time period. You can see here, this is from August 21. I'm going to draw a trend line right from here. You can see one, two, one, two, and then you can see here, right? So there are one, two, sort of, no, I wouldn't call this three, but it's came near. Then there is a three, and then now there is a breach. So what does it mean? On the upside, the trend line is breaching the price is breaching the trend line on the upper side. So that means what was earlier a resistance, now it's gone, now it's breached, and so there is a possibility that the price could move up. So with Tata Steel, you can see, I mean, along with the trend line breach, you can see the ADX, I mean, the RSI is crossing 60, ADX is starting to move up to 20. There are multiple indicators here which shows Tata Steel is likely to make a move, right? Only thing which I need to worry about Tata Steel at the moment, it's at a resistance point. So if it kind of reaches, or even if it comes back and takes support on this trend line on the other side, which is you breach, you go up and then come back and rest on the top side of the trend line, which is somewhere here, what I mean. Then again, if it rests there and then it bounces, as a good indicator. I would still, I don't go long that point. If it sort of comes down, then that's the sort of a trap. Meaning, it went up, it breached the trend line, it moved up, it's showing as though a breakout, and then came back below. So at the moment, there are so many indicators of positive indicators for Tata Steel. It's just the resistance. There's a pretty strong resistance line here. If it manages to go above this resistance zone, then there is a confirmation of a support or a new trend line breach, and it could act as a support. So that's how I use trend line for trading. Now I want to show you another long-term trend line in crude oil. Take a look at this. Okay. Yeah. So here I'm gonna draw a trend line. Okay. I'm gonna draw something. Okay. Might have to adjust this bit while we're just getting used to it, right? While drawing initially, you may have to adjust it a bit to get the right sort of this thing. Trend line, you can redraw that. Yeah, so this is another trend line. You can see this is a crude oil trend line. Okay, this is something there since the first time the price touched the trend line is in 2020 March 21. Then it touched in July, then again in October. Now it has closed, right? So each time it touched the trend line, the price reversed from that point. You can see here one, two, three, and now we have a fourth scenario here. We don't know if it would breach or not, right? So trend line is quite important. I mean, it's a useful tip to take positions, and it would become stronger if you can club it with other indicators, like if there is a resistance, if you are able to use support and resistance points, RSI green with the trend line breach, something of that. So when you combine these things, it kind of becomes a really good indicator for us to go long or short. So for this video, I just only wanted to talk about trend line. I hope this was helpful. If you have any comments, suggestions, do drop a line in my comments, and I'll look into it. Right? Thank you. Have a nice day and good trading.